former boss of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Justice Emil Short, is urging Parliament to pass the Conduct of Public Affairs Bill, Public Officers Bill into law to give legal backing to Code of Conduct designed for public officials. He believes the bill, which was spearheaded by Shraj, if passed into law, will help deal with public officers who are found culpable of conflict of interest. President Akufo-Addo on Thursday suspended the Chief Executive Officer of the Public Procurement Authority, Mr. Ejenim Boateng, on allegations of corruption and conflict of interest after Manasseh Azoriah-Winnie's documentary Contract for Sale was aired.
You know, Shraj has issued guidelines on conflict of interest. And during my term of office, we started discussions with the Attorney General Office on passing legislation to deal with conflict of interest, which resulted in the drafting of a bill called the Conduct of Public Officers Bill 2013. You know, so but that bill deals with conflict of interest, gifts, assets declaration, and so on. Unfortunately, it's still in Parliament. Parliament has not passed it. It should be passed as soon as possible, and that is GII, Ghana Integrity Initiative, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition. They've all, you know, called upon Parliament to pass the legislation as quickly as possible. I am urging Parliament as soon as possible to pass the Conduct of Public Officers Bill 2013. Because this is an important piece of legislation which will assist in the promotion and of, you know, the anti-corruption fight. And so this is the message I want to send to Parliament, that as soon as possible they should ensure that that.
And Michael Bwedi of the Ghana Integrity Initiative wants the board of the Public Procurement Authority to. He says administrative measures for dealing with conflict of interest are not enough.
The board has a role, the board supervises the work of Mr. Boateng. To what extent the board continue to pass, per the documentary, about 14 contracts going to the same entities, and I'd raised no question. I'd done no due diligence, you know. I mean, is it that the board slept on its job? Is it that the board's experience in procurement is in question? Is it that the board didn't care? We don't think that, you know, the board did a good job on this score, and therefore the president must look into the work of the board. I think that immediately the board has not demonstrated that they are capable of protecting the public purse as far as the PPA is concerned, and therefore the board must be dissolved immediately. Then investigation into the conduct of the board commences. As a matter of fact, we are even asking that investigation must go into all the single-sourced procurement that had gone on under the tenure of Mr. AB and the current board. So the investigation should not be into just the conduct of AB as has been revealed by the documentary, but must be extended far beyond AB to the board and other single source contracts or that the board awarded within the period.
Well, there are some who also think that conflict of interest as we have now is only part of the code of conduct of what you call the public officers, and there is no sort of legal backing, you know, to it. So public officers sometimes we see it as optional and not really as obligatory. There are some who are saying that the Public Officers Conduct Bill that was, spearheaded sometime in 2006 by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice should help us to be able to get a clear lines in terms of conflict of interest and the punitive measures that should be, meted out to people. What do you make of that?
There are administrative measures that are taken or that can be taken when people are found in conflict of interest. And the question that we may ask is that, have we been enforcing those administrative standards and measures? No, we don't. We gloss over it, we pretend it's business as usual, and therefore we are reaping the ills of perpetuating conflict of interest. There are administrative sanctions which are punitive enough that we could enforce whilst awaiting a criminal backing, a criminal.
In the last few hours, the board of the Procurement Authority have released a statement with regards to this, and excerpts of that statement reads: the board of the Public Procurement Authority has taken note of the documentary by Manasseh Azuri Awini titled Selling of Government Contracts, which was aired in the evening of Wednesday, August 21, 2019 on JoyNews and subsequently on other television and radio stations nationwide. The board's attention has further been drawn to the referral by His Excellency the President of the matters contained in the documentary to the Office of Special Prosecutor for Investigations, as well as complaints lodged with the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice (CHRAJ), pursuant to the instruction of the President. The board expresses its preparedness to cooperate with the investigations ordered by the President and hereby assures the public that upon the conclusion of the said investigations, the role of the board of the PPA in the grant of approvals for only the procedure to be adopted by procurement entities for single source and restricted tendering in accordance with sections 38, 39, 40 and 41 of the Procurement Act 2003 as amended, and not the conduct of the tender or selection of successful tenderers, will be clarified and better understood. The board further assures the public that the investigation ordered by the President will disclose that the board of the PPA does not influence subsequent tender processes in accordance with Part 5 of the Act as an approval of the procedure for restricted tendering and has been granted by the PPA. Neither does the board have control over the selection of contractors and suppliers for goods, works and services presented by procurement entities in applications for approval for a method of single source and restricted tendering, nor does it award contracts. The board wishes to assure the public that there is no disruption to the operations of the PPA, and is signed by Mrs. Leslie Dodu, board secretary, and Professor Douglas Boateng, who is board chairman of the board. You may be aware that the CEO of the PPA is scheduled to meet the special prosecutor on Thursday at 10 a.m. We'll bring you all the updates on JoyNews.